IVM.
If you like IVM likes, you should definitely check out another show from the IVM network called Geek Fruit. It's a show where three geeks, Tejas, Jishnu and Dinkar, talk about everything science fiction, adventure, fantasy, movies, TV shows, everything. So quench your thirst for geek conversation every week. Episodes out every Monday and Thursday on the IVM Podcast app, the IVM website, or wherever you listen to podcasts.
Hey everybody, welcome to IVM Likes. This is a special episode because we have a returning guest. And before I introduce who the guest is, my name is Jaanam and with me is Abhineet in the studio.
Hello
who's
guys.
Also an IVM producer. And with us we have the returning guest is Gauri, Pandit.
Hi guys.
Who you heard on the Game of Thrones episode we did earlier this month. It's been a couple of months.
Yeah.
We did that
It's been 6 episodes.
It's been 6 episodes.
somewhere,
feels like a
somewhere
lifetime.
around 26th of April. Or
Precise. Nice.
Nice. Good job. You remember the release date.
Yeah, so we did one episode before the season dropped, right? Or after the
Right
first
after
episode?
the
right
first
after the
episode.
first episode.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Cool. And along with Gauri, we also have a new member, new guest, Dhriti Menon.
Hi guys.
Hi, Dhriti. I'm meeting Dhriti after really long. Dhriti, why don't you introduce yourself to our listeners?
I'm Dhriti and I make videos. That's
Okay.
about it.
She's being just as vague as I was last time.
Yeah, I
Okay,
think
well,
you gave the same introduction.
Content. What do they call each other?
Content creator.
Content curator.
Curator.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Okay, so Gauri is also a video producer and so is Dhriti. They work together.
That's
and
correct.
the three of us used to work together
Yeah.
4
In
years
the
ago.
heydays.
Yeah. So this is like a really weird reunion podcast thing.
Yeah. How long has it been?
It's
4
4 years.
4 years. Yeah, for sure. That's a really long time, guys.
That's 3 seasons of Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, we're here to discuss Game of
Technically
Thrones.
2 seasons because 1 year there wasn't a season.
Yeah.
We waited 2 years.
That
Yeah.
was really
Yeah.
long, a really
Yeah,
long
it was
wait.
torturous. It was pretty torturous.
Yeah.
How did you bide your time in that?
I went and I reread parts of the books that
The
I really
books, yeah.
liked. I would go on YouTube and type John and Ghost best scenes
And theories.
and theories
Yeah.
and there's so many good content creators who create or who come up with these theories
Yeah,
based
for sure.
on actual instances from the books and the shows and all of that. And that was really fun, trying to figure out who actually the Night King is. Can it be Bran? Can it be this? Even though a lot of them are really far-fetched, but that kind of fueled me okay, I'm reading, I'm watching all of this.
Yeah.
We'll finally know the answer, in 2019.
Yeah.
So that's just the introduction to this episode. We are going to be discussing Game of Thrones in more detail in the second half. But in the first half, we'll quickly go around with our round of recommendations. Let's start with Dhriti.
Okay, this isn't something new, but I've actually been hooked onto this app. It's a radio app. It's called Radio Paradise.
Okay.
And it's just this app started by this old radio jockey somewhere in America. I don't know what his name is actually. It's he and his wife have started it out of their basement and they have this insane collection of music. Of an insane vinyl collection of music. They have versions of songs that aren't even available on Spotify or Apple Music.
Oh, wow.
And it's like a radio. It's just radio and you can just pick your mood and it plays music per mood and it's alternative music. So it's
so
all
you
of
cannot
rock.
change the tracks.
You can skip
Oh,
maybe
okay.
1 or 2, but then it'll come back to the same.
Kind of
Okay.
like 8 tracks,
yeah,
from a couple of years ago.
yeah, but a little old school 8 tracks
Yeah.
because there's a lot of music that we wouldn't have listened to otherwise, stuff from the 30s and 40s, 60s and stuff like that, and really obscure stuff from there,
Okay.
So
And this is
from
a hidden gem.
Yeah, and
It's
it's from their
great.
personal collection, all of this music, right?
yeah, and you will every 8th song you'll hear him saying hi, whatever, hi listeners, this is Brian or whatever. I don't know what his name, keep forgetting his name. And he'll say, you're listening to Radio Paradise. And he's this really old school RJ's voice, very soothing. It is so good. I mean, there's so much good music I've just discovered from Radio Paradise. You
Is
guys
it a
check
free
out.
app or?
Free, yeah. It's completely free.
And there's no songs on it that you have to pay for or
Nothing.
everything is...
Nothing. It's just the song name comes up and the artist, and then you can rate. And even the rating system is really cool. It's like groovy, amazing, pretty cool, okay, and like really old school terms for like good or bad. You know, like
Nice.
who says groovy? It's really cool. You guys should check it out. There's a lot of good music.
Definitely. Gauri, what about you?
So I've just started watching this Canadian TV show called Kim's Convenience.
Okay.
And it's really cool because it's about this Canadian Korean family that owns a convenience store. And what's really interesting about it is that they show the interaction between minorities, whether it's someone who's part of the LGBTQ community or it's someone who's mixed race, and just like the awkward situations that people get into just because of the differences and the similarities that they have. And it's just really wholesome and really funny. And I think it's super underrated and everybody should just go watch it.
Yeah? Is it a sitcom, like 20 minutes?
It's not a sitcom, but yeah, it's around like 20 minutes per episode and it's on Netflix. So
Oh, cool.
What is
Yeah.
it called?
Kim's Convenience.
Is like,
Okay.
are there like rivalries between the Korean store and the Indian store? that would
would be hilarious. Yeah,
Yeah.
They should definitely take that storyline because that would be funny. But yeah, it's really funny. Like in the first episode only, there's this gay couple that comes in and then they're like, we need to put up our poster because it's like a pride march and we need to advertise it. And then he's like, no, you can't do that. You can't advertise in my store. And they're like, oh my God, this is a hate crime. You're like not letting us put up a poster. And then they get into this whole discussion where the convenience store owner ends up giving them like a 15% gay discount because now he's being accused of a gay crime, like a hate crime. And even though he's like Korean Canadian and he's not even like homophobic or anything, he's just like forced into the situation even though he's a minority and they're a minority. And
Man,
it's
that
just,
sounds hilarious.
yeah, it's really
sounds
funny.
really good.
It's really funny. Yeah.
Cool. So it's called Kim's Convenience.
Yeah.
Okay. And Abhineet, what are you recommending?
Okay, guys, as you listeners know about me, I am a bit tech savvy, so this time again I'm recommending a YouTube channel. It's based basically like surrounds around tech and how you can customize your Windows. So like Windows is pretty dull, you know, right? What I'm talking about. Like there's nothing much you can do with the Windows thing. It's very pale looking icons and all. So this channel, this guy, he creates videos where he teaches you how to customize your Windows. Like you can have a very cool looking desktop and then like icons popping out from right and left. Like if you just hover your mouse cursor over you say Chrome, you have a weird looking what I can show you. I have my I cannot describe this thing.
And unfortunately, this is a podcast.
Yeah.
It's not a vlog.
So like a picture popping out from anywhere on the screen. You don't know. Even you don't know where the picture will pop out.
But doesn't that disrupt what you're already doing? Like if I'm just
No,
moving my cursor and I want to move it to a particular folder, but then...
No. Like how the default, by default you have my computer or my PC on your desktop.
Right.
So instead of PC or desktop, you can have customized icon or say words or like Jaanam's computer, something like that. So you
Okay.
can have your picture popping out.
That's Jaanam in the 5th grade.
I know. But I mean, I have a folder in my thing called Swati's Data right now. So, I mean, you can anyway rename that, right? You
Not
can
just rename. You cannot have like animation to your icons.
Okay, you mean in the icon my name will appear
Yeah.
as...
Yeah.
So hypothetically, would you be able to put a GIF as like
Yeah,
an icon?
you
Oh,
can.
that's cool.
That's really cool. What's
Yeah.
it called?
The channel is called by the guy's name is I hope I'm pronouncing it right. Urim Berisha. URIM BERISHA. So this guy uploads hell lot of these customizing videos. Like if you just want like cool looking Windows thing, because I am not privileged to have a Mac, so I can make my Windows thing look
Like
cool.
a Mac.
Yeah, you can do that.
Okay.
Like, have your Windows theme like a Mac.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's nice.
So guys, check this out. It's called Urim Berisha. I hope I'm pronouncing it right.
And have you used this personally on
Yeah.
your system?
Yeah.
Does it slow it down? Your
If you have 2 GB RAM, then please don't do this.
okay.
I thought he was gonna say it works on 2 GB RAM as well. I was gonna be
Like
like,
that.
great.
It's pretty GPU intensive thing.
Okay.
So this guy is literally just hacked. I mean, he's hacked Windows in the sense that he's
Not
got
hacked, there is
not
this-
hacked in the sense like he's figured it out to the
Yeah.
point where. Okay.
So like you can pick up one icon pack and then you can have this font and then combine these two and have like something. Like,
okay,
so
you should do that with phones. I mean,
you can do this with
Yeah.
phones.
Okay.
There's this app called Nova Launcher. You can do that with phones.
Oh.
That's
So-
a great recommendation. Okay, moving on. I'm recommending an app. It's a photo editing app called Mix.
Yes! I love this app.
I discovered it from Gauri only. And she actually told me about this app while we were on our trip to Meghalaya.
Yes.
And my camera honestly is not the best. So I was looking for like good apps to just improve the quality of my pictures. And I came across Mix through Gauri, and it's actually pretty great because pretty much all the kind of effects you want on a picture, those options are available. You have like, there's a whole section for like Polaroid-ish effects. There's one only for like monochrome. There's one with like cinematic effects. And one of my favorite features is actually the starry sky effect,
Yes.
which works great if you have an open sky image, and it automatically just makes your image starry. And again, this is an audio medium. I can't describe how it looks, but if you go to my Instagram, if you guys are already following me, you can go and scroll down. I have posted an image on the 28th of November 2018. And this is what the sky looks like. It doesn't look, I mean, it looks
Yeah.
photoshopped, but
No, but it looks amazing.
it looks
Yeah.
real. But actually, this picture was taken in broad daylight.
Yeah.
Oh, this is so cool.
And
So basically, it just changes the sky to whatever time of day and whatever like weird like
Is that
stars
you
or whatever
lying
you
on the
want.
road?
yes,
You can put a rainbow, you can put clouds, you
it's
can put
middle of the
anything.
day?
Yeah, this was
Oh.
broad daylight. Like
You're
it was
lying on the
sunlight.
road in broad daylight.
Yes, it was an empty road. We
Okay.
were in the middle of the
Yeah.
hills, so there were
Oh,
no
nice.
vehicles.
I was
I
still
love
scared though.
myself.
I
I'm
was
not gonna do this.
I was quite terrified that we would get run over.
But there was literally like nothing on the road. It was just us. And
Yeah, but you don't know, something will come zooming past you and you'll be dead in like a second.
but this wasn't even the main road. This was an adjacent road to the
That
main
is true.
road.
That is true.
So yeah, we were safe just lying on the floor. Even you did this, by the way.
Yeah, I did this, but I was still scared.
Yeah, so check it out. It's called Mix. It's available on iOS and I mean Play Store and App Store.
Have you
I'm
tried
doing right
Lightroom?
I have once, but again, my phone
How
is
is it different from Lightroom?
this has ready-made
Oh, okay. Like
effects.
filters and templates.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it has a very large range of filters, I think,
Oh,
compared to
okay.
any other app.
Yeah,
I think Lightroom is just too
too many features.
and it's almost like someone who knows how to use
Yeah.
Photoshop or whatever can use it. Like it's not, I don't think it does really well on phones because like noobs like us are just like, hey, filter hello. We don't know burn
Yeah.
slash, I don't know what. Like,
yeah, that's
you know?
very true.
But Lightroom is great for color correction.
Yeah.
It's
But
the
again,
best
you have
for
to
that.
like learn how to do it on,
Yeah.
on Lightroom.
Yeah.
It's like a whole.
It's a little complicated, yeah.
So there's this, like I'm recommending again, there's this app called Polar. So it's a like very similar kind of app to this photo editing app. I'll not get into the details. You guys check that out too. It's called Polar.
Polar?
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, so we'll get into a break, but before we go into the break, we'll just do a recap of what we recommended. Dhriti?
So yeah, I recommended this music radio app called Radio Paradise, and it's just great for discovering new music from any kind of genre. More on the alternative side it says he obviously has a preference, the jockey, but it's so good. So you listen to things from really obscure unplugged Beatles songs to Morchiba, and there's a range. And then randomly he'll put it in a Halsey song also, which so it's not like they don't listen to music that's out right now.
Okay.
So it's a mix of everything. Yeah, it's really good. Yeah,
cool. Gauri?
I recommend Kim's Convenience, which is a Canadian show which is available on Netflix, and it's hilarious and woke and wholesome, and you should definitely watch it.
Cool. Abhineet?
I recommended a YouTube channel called Urim Berisha. It's mainly about customizing your desktop, mainly Windows. So guys, check that out too.
And I recommended a photo editing app called Mix, which is great for lazy editors like us. And with that, we'll get on with the break. And on the other side, we will be discussing the final season of Game of Thrones, our thoughts about it, and some more things. See ya.
Hi everybody, welcome to another incredible week on the IVM Podcast Network. If you are not following us on social media, please make sure you do. We're IVM Podcast on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. A couple of messages up top. First, we're hiring right now. We're looking to hire a producer, we're looking to hire copywriters, we're looking to hire an audio engineer, we're looking for web developers, we're looking for business people. If you're looking to work at IVM, which in my opinion is probably one of the best places to work at, then please do send us an application. Also, please do download our app if you're not listening to it on our app. Our app is available on the Play Store. And I also want to thank our sponsors this month, Savari, Storytel, and Paytm Money. Thank you very much for supporting us. On Paisa Vaisa, Anupam continues his conversation with Kunal Shah, founder and CEO of Cred, a members-only app which gives you exclusive rewards for paying your credit card bill. On the Filter Coffee podcast, Ronnie Screwwala joins Karthik Nagarajan to talk about his early days as an entrepreneur and what has kept him going during adversities. And if that's not enough Ronnie Screwwala for you, listen to his podcast, the Ronnie Screwwala Podcast, where Ronnie talks to me about the benefits and disadvantages of being an outsider, building a brand identity, and the learnings from collaborating with business giants across the world. In the season 2 finale of Echoes of India, Anirudh discusses the end of India's Hunnic Wars and the emergence of some of the most dynamic and powerful people and states in Indian history. It's been a great season. If you haven't caught it yet, check out the entire season. On our Parsi food show, Not Just Dansak, we have a very special guest, Kanaz Messman, the owner of Theo Broma. She talks to Perzan about keeping the cooking process basic and simple. On the ATKT Talent Tent, P-Man and Krupa are joined by slam poet Malvika. She talks about how poetry helps her cope with anxiety. On Equity Sahi Hai, brought to you by Motilal Oswal Asset Management, Shrey Lunkar is in conversation with Anupam about life insurance in India. On Golgappa, Trupti is in conversation with Mayur More of TVF Kota Factory fame. He talks about his early days as a theatre artist and shares stories from the sets of Kota Factory. And with that, let's get you on with your show.
Welcome back, guys. We're here discussing the final season of Game of Thrones. So we're a bit late releasing this episode, but it's fine because I'm sure most of you all took some time to watch it. Like me,
I to get over it.
Yeah, So, what are your thoughts, guys, on the final season or episode? I want to say, like, let's talk about the final episode first, because that had the final reveal of how the whole thing ends.
To be very honest...
Okay, wait, sorry. Before we get in, obviously spoilers. If you haven't watched the show yet, stop listening at this point. Or if you enjoy spoilers, go ahead.
Yeah. To be very honest, me as well as, like, I think you and, like, most of other fans are, like, extremely disappointed with this season as a whole, but especially with the last episode, because the one thing Game of Thrones had going for it, like, apart from everything else is amazing. But the one thing which kept us hooked was the fact that you could never predict what would happen. But the last episode sort of let us down in that sense, where you could totally tell that Jon Snow was going to kill Daenerys, and it was going to be this whole thing, and, like, a lot of the character arcs were just, like, left instead of, like, tying them properly into, like, a neat bow. They were just abandoned. For example, Tyrion, whose character is just, like, so amazing. Like, you root for him since the beginning.
Right.
But towards the end, he's just pretty much useless, and then he gives, like, one speech at the end, and, like, everything is good, you know? So the way they did everything was a little disappointing. But I was happy with where everyone ended up. Like, I
Right.
was happy that Jon Snow was beyond the wall. I was happy that Sansa was queen in the north. I was happy that Arya's doing her adventures.
Exploring,
Yeah. But just the way they handled it was a little disappointing. You know, I actually got a little bored in between. The episode wasn't like gripping.
I'm with you on that. I feel,
slept for
Yeah.
like 4 or 5 minutes during the episode. Because it was 6:30 in the morning. Like,
Yeah, so they usually, like, if you see all the seasons of Game of Thrones, they've, you know, taken their time and they've taken the number of episodes it's required to unfold the story.
Yeah.
But with this season, just 6 episodes, like,
And there's a reason for that. Actually, Dan and Dave, you told me this.
Yeah.
That they are actually bound to make more money from starting a new project with George Lucas and Star Wars. So
Yeah.
literally, it was the money. That,
Okay.
I mean, I'm so mad at them for that because I've been
who did
their
you say?
biggest-
Dan and?
Dave, the creators of the
creative
show.
Okay.
directors.
And they've done such a phenomenal job with the whole show, okay? From the beginning, from how they crafted the show to follow the books, but also deviate in ways that would fit a screenplay narrative better and everything. Like, so well done, all of that. But then in the last season, they make these stupid blunders where you can see like Starbucks cups and
Yeah.
I
Bisleri
mean,
bottles.
Yeah,
what
Bisleri
even?
bottles,
Yeah. And I was just so upset with the season finale because, like she said, where they all ended up was great, but how they got there, like, no, how did Bran? What was that whole thing with Bran?
Yeah.
If they really wanted him to be king, they should have kind of sowed those seeds
Yeah.
much early in the season, much like what maybe they did with Arya, because if you see her, she stabs the king, Night King and everything, and then you can actually trace back to her season in Bravos and you know
Yeah.
the things that are said to her, and you're like, oh, now it makes sense. Like
From season 1, when she's like quick as a cat, you know,
yeah,
things like that.
things
Her
like that.
interaction with Melisandre also.
Melisandre and like saying, what do we say to the god of death? Not
Yeah.
today. And learning how to fight death almost, you know, and all of that. Then you're like, shit, she's the dark horse. And maybe that was done well. And I think maybe they just concentrated on that. And then they just gave up with Tyrion and Jon. And,
Yeah.
and they say, we'll just tie it. Jugad, they do some jugad at the end, which it
Yeah.
was so sloppy. It
Yeah.
was so sloppy.
Yeah,
and
man.
it's
The only thing
disappointing.
that saved it was the director, the amazing director. What's his name?
Miguel Sapo something.
Yeah.
So he did the best episode from this, which was, I think, the
Third episode and the fifth episode.
Fifth episode.
The battle episodes, basically. And he's so good at what he does that he
Yeah.
actually made it gripping despite the
By
poor writing.
Poor writing, yeah.
And also Ramin Djawadi, who's the
Oh man,
music
the
director.
musician. Oh god.
Yeah.
that
Oh my God.
man
Yeah.
is like
He is
the true.
Yeah. He's the
ruler
MVP.
of-
Yeah.
I don't think the
Westeros.
music of this show has gotten enough credit, or at least like I haven't heard many people talk about it.
Definitely.
Yeah.
But yeah,
He saved the season
Yeah.
pretty much as it
So
could be
good,
saved.
So good.
Yeah, I actually discovered this song, the Jenny of Old Stones,
Yeah.
by Florence and
So
the
good.
Machine, and it's been on repeat. And even the covers of the songs
Were
are
so good, yeah.
My God,
And even the Night King theme from
so good.
episode 3, it's just beautiful. It's a work of art. Like,
Yeah.
it's ridiculous how good it is.
So like in Dan and Dave's case, I felt all their supporting characters were better than them. In like,
Yeah.
you know, everyone
Yeah.
around them was working well.
Yeah.
But what happened to their, and they wrote all the bad episodes, by the way. You see, yeah. It's like shocking because they've written some of the best episodes. And now it's just,
Yeah, I mean, not only did they let us down, they let their own team down. That's
Yeah.
what's sad, you know, because everybody around them did a great job. I mean, Amelia Clark was so good
Yeah.
in this
she's
season.
fantastic. And even Lena Headey.
Yeah.
She is
Headey.
like-
I don't know. Yeah, but she's so good. Yeah.
so good.
So everybody did a great job except for them. So that's like, that sucks, man.
Yeah, it sucks.
there was this news about Emilia Clarke getting she had an brain aneurysm or something, and she
yeah.
worked throughout the first
Yeah.
multiple seasons with that, man. Like, hats off to her.
Yeah.
I read the whole article she wrote, her whole experience with almost not surviving, and
Yeah.
despite that she would go on set and still like
Yeah, that's a very
perform. It's
hard-hitting
crazy,
piece.
And she would do interviews and she would be in
she'd do
on
press
talk
junkets
shows.
and it's insane.
Damn, you had no idea.
Yeah, and in the earlier seasons, I actually wasn't a big fan of hers because she was like okay at acting, And then I read about this and I was like, man, you had an aneurysm and you were acting and you were actually able to say your lines, man.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Togo no doro.
Yeah.
How do you still say that?
Dovageri.
Abhineet, what about you? What did you think of the final season? Like you already said, you fell asleep for a bit.
Yeah.
But while for the time that you were awake, what did you think?
Okay. I was pretty disappointed. I was very disappointed with the season, like the last season, because in the previous likes episode, my fan theory was Arya will just kill Cersei and she'll wear the face of Cersei and she'll just rule. So like not that, but still nothing happened. Because like wo nahi to like kuch to, like I wanted like okay fine you kill the character but at least give them an iconic death.
Yeah.
Like please.
Oh yeah, that's another thing. There was not one good death in this season.
I would have rather Jaime stab Cersei out of like he knew that they were coming for her, so he's like, it's better that I kill her. And then it would also talk about the theory where there's this
the
theory,
Valancourt.
the Valancourt theory where, and like basically Cersei has believed it all her life that her younger brother is going to kill her, which is why she hates Tyrion.
Yeah.
But actually Jaime is also younger than her by a second or whatever because they're twins. Yeah. So it could also
they could
mean
have done
him.
that.
Yeah. They could have done that and just
more
like
powerful.
and then it would have been beautiful and they could have Raman could have done like a whole nice.
Yeah.
But they just what happened? What happened actually? They
were
fell on
pummeled
them.
by rocks.
Yeah. And there was this whole image going around that there was space at the back and if they were just like
10 feet away from wherever. Yeah, I saw this. It's ridiculous, dude. I mean, if Tyrion can climb downstairs, remove rocks and walk there, then come on.
Yeah.
Find a safe spot, man.
But didn't you feel that some of the characters didn't need to die? Like, I didn't feel the need to kill off Jaime. I didn't feel the need to kill off the Hound.
Euron?
Euron was an unnecessary character for me.
Yeah.
They screwed up his entry only in Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
Like, he is such a menacing person in the books.
Yeah, he's
literally
terrifying.
your favorite villain.
Yeah.
More than Ramsay.
Yeah.
And
Because he's
Joffrey.
batshit crazy.
Yeah, he's like an evil Jack Sparrow in the books.
Oh.
Yeah.
And like he's a sort of a drug addict in the book. Like he keeps drinking some.
He's
shit.
like a weird.
And then he's like terrible to his brothers, and like he's horrible to all of his family, and like
he's a sadist.
He's a sadist. Yeah, that's the word.
Yeah, it goes like Joffrey, Ramsay, and then fucking Euron Greyjoy. Because he's terrible in the books, and in the show they just made him like.
There was no Euron in that list.
Just some weird, one guy with weird eyes. Like, I mean, it was just what was going on? The casting was terrible. It was so bad for this guy. And they screwed him up.
Then I was very disappointed with the character of Bran because he did nothing.
He had like 2 lines in the entire season.
He literally did nothing. Like, at least give him something.
Yeah.
I mean, he walked into Ravens and saw the Night King coming.
Yeah, that season where all that was happening, I was actually like... I mean, it was really good to see Bran's character evolve that way, but then towards the end, what they did in that, especially the last episode, it was... And everyone's just like, like everyone's like voting, saying like, yes, I want Bran to...
Like, I think Samuel's character was more important than Bran.
For sure.
Every character was more important than Bran.
Yeah, because he did nothing to help. He just stood there and said, it has to happen the way I've seen it, so I'm not going to say anything. That was his logic, which was stupid.
Strange.
Yeah, it was really silly. But Dr. Strange at least tells Tony Stark, he gives him, this is your last chance, he's giving one.
Yeah.
You know?
Even Dr. Strange did more. Yeah, oh my god, we're going into spoilers for everything. But even Dr. Strange did more than Bran Stark, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, and we still don't know what his powers are. Like, what he does exactly, nobody knows.
Like, according to me, he could have done so many things. Like, he could have been the dragon, like, flying around, like...
Exactly.
But they did imply that in the last episode, when the dragon is lost in Essos, he says that, let me see if I can find him.
Yeah.
So they've implied that he'll probably walk into the dragon at some point.
But they did nothing.
They don't show
they didn't.
I think maybe
they didn't show
because
it.
they wanted to show that he's getting stronger. I mean, he's not because when he became the three-eyed raven, he was still like not the strongest.
Right.
You know, when all that stuff got uploaded to his memory.
Mr. Robot. He's still processing his information.
Yeah, he's still processing. So it's like the computer is learning.
Oh my god, he's AI.
Yeah, so they should have a season.
A pretty bad AI.
And a spin-off show with Bran walking into dragons.
Are they coming up with a spin-off? Arya Stark thing?
No. They're doing like a bunch of prequels apparently.
Oh, okay.
It's called Blood Moon, one of the prequels.
So is it happening?
Yeah, I mean, they've hired a bunch of actors and I think they've even hired a writer and director for
Are
it.
those pictures that are out actually from the sets of Blood Moon?
No.
No,
That's just fandom.
Oh.
It's just fandom.
They haven't revealed anything of
It's
that.
he just said that it's going to be much earlier. It's going to be set in the time when the first long night happened.
Oh, okay.
Like before that or after that. Before that.
I don't
And I have
know
a feeling that maybe that's why they let a lot of loose ends. Because
I
I
hope
think
so.
maybe we learn about old magic and blood magic and everything then. Well, I mean,
I had a
hopeful
question.
fans.
I had a question. Like, what was with the sigil they made with the Umber kid?
See, they didn't explain
They
that.
didn't explain
That's
that.
one of the things they didn't
There
explain.
was no explanation.
No.
Like, why did they do that?
And they didn't even tell us who the Night King was. Like,
Yeah.
his personality was null. Like, he had less of a personality than even Bran.
Yeah.
It
But
was pretty-
I think these are, I mean, I'm still hopeful, optimistic that these answers we get
Yeah,
in that
even I
prequel.
hope
So
so.
maybe the only recurring character will be the child of the forest and the Night King in the prequel.
Probably, yeah.
Everybody else is just going to be different.
What about the whole season? Like, were there any parts which made you really emotional?
Yeah, mine was, I've been standing this since God knows when. It's the Clegane Bowl when both the Hound
yeah.
and the
Oh my
Mountain.
God, yes.
And we, Gauri and I are watching together and we're like, oh my God, it's
Oh my
happening,
God,
it's happening. We were so excited and it was done beautifully.
Yeah.
It was beautiful, that whole 5
Oh,
minute,
that
3 minute.
shot was so beautiful with the dragon and the fire in the
Yeah.
background and the sun shining on them and like
Yeah,
it was just brilliant.
amazing. It
Yeah.
was amazing. I think that was a testament to like fans because there's a lot of fan art a lot of fan art where they have like drawn how it would look like.
Oh, okay.
And there is a dragon in the back. Like a lot of fans. So it's almost like Dan and Dave went back, the writers went back and they kind of like, okay, let's give them something because we're going to disappoint them anyway. But it was great. Like we wanted that Clegane Bowl thing to happen and it happened and like Reddit was going crazy. Everyone was going crazy, but yeah.
Kudos to the cinematographer, dude.
Yeah.
Fucking beautiful shot.
Amazing. Beautiful.
Yeah.
What about you guys?
I like the part when Daenerys dies and Drogon is like just like trying to wake her up. Like, at least like, please don't die.
Yeah, that was really cute.
Yeah, and then he just flies off. Like nothing happened. It was pretty depressing. Like, please wake up. Like, I was very depressed after watching this. Like, let's not discuss Game of Thrones after watching the episode.
Yeah.
For me, I think the most emotional scenes which I found was Tyrion and Jaime's. When he's going and saving him, and that thing where he says that you were the only one who didn't look at me like a monster.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Man, I almost teared up, and even the last scene where he goes and finds that Jaime has died, and he's just like he's mourning Jaime's death more than Cersei. So yeah, just seeing Tyrion hurt that way, like I
don't think we've seen him hurt when he killed his girlfriend. Like that was, I think,
his
the
father
worst.
and his
father. Yeah, I think he was pretty emotional, but he was really angry back then. And here he was just so. That was very good acting.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that was the same scene for me also. I actually did tear up in that scene.
Oh, there's another scene.
When they all were like before the war.
Theon and Sansa.
Oh, yeah,
that was just like I didn't know
we
that I
didn't
wanted
expect
it.
that. Yeah.
I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
This is amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, he's a good boy. Such a good boy.
Yeah.
The night before the Great War, when where they all are sitting and just drinking.
That's when the song
Yeah.
also plays.
Yeah.
Podrick sings this.
Yeah.
That was a great scene. See, there are really good scenes.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like the show had lost its quality.
No.
It's just the tie-up
They
and there
could
were so
not
many
just-
loose ends.
yeah.
Yeah, I feel like they were overwhelmed with the amount
Yeah.
of stuff they had to get done.
Do you guys have any favorite line from the whole season, like all the seasons?
Stick it to the pointy end.
Yeah, to be very honest, the favorite lines that we do have, like Not Today and Stick It to the Pointy End, and all of that is just something that's already happened before, you know? It's just references to the previous seasons. I don't think I have like a new favorite line.
Yeah.
Because the script was very like okay,
Yeah.
you know, it wasn't like wow, what a dialogue.
I also feel Tyrion didn't have the best lines in this season.
Oh, for sure he did.
I was expecting more out of
Yeah.
that, but
He was shown pretty dumb in this season.
Yeah, like do you guys remember like the first episode where he's cracking like a eunuch joke on Varys?
Yeah.
Like, come
Yeah,
on, dude, give him
yeah.
better jokes at least.
And I don't think they are finding it funny. The characters also are not laughing or even
Yeah,
smiling at each
it's
other.
just-
Do you have a favorite line from the whole Game of Thrones universe?
I can't point anyone.
Mine
As in
would-
not favorite, but the most memorable ones are like Not Today.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think Dhriti and I have this one from the book, which I think is there
It's
in
in
the
the
show.
show where I think when Tyrion and Jon first meet in season 2 or 1.
It's one only when they're going to the wall.
They're going to the wall and then basically Jon meets Tyrion and he already has an opinion about him. They don't like each other. But Tyrion is still trying to get him, like he sees something in Jon that he can relate to because he knows Jon's a bastard and he's a cripple. So they have that. And it comes down to Jon saying, you know, they're having an argument or a cute like debate. Banter. And Jon says, why do you read so much? So then Tyrion's like, a sword, a mind needs a book like a sword needs a whetstone. And that was so good.
Yeah.
It's so good. And that, again, they took it
and it's
from
so
the books.
true to his character.
As well.
Yeah.
Mine would be when Tyrion said, I hope your joys turn into ashes in your mouth.
Oh, that was a really
Yeah.
good line.
Savage.
Yeah. Also got him into a lot of trouble.
I think Cersei first said that first. Oh, she said it after.
After.
Yeah, she said it back to him. I
Back
think.
to
Yeah.
him. Or in that trial or something.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
That's a great line. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a really good line.
There's so many Olenna Tyrell lines that were just hilarious, and I missed her actually this season.
Yeah, I think she would have been the only person who would have been happy with what happened because she hated King's Landing. She hated the Lannister. She hated everything to do with that city. So, and she always wanted Dany to commit genocide. So,
She's like, kill them all.
yeah.
Is it just me or the dragons were pretty unrealistic in this season? Like, very.
Special effects wise.
Yeah.
I don't know about the dragons, but I did notice this one shot that was ridiculous, which our friend Shambhavi actually pointed out. Shout out to you,
Shout out
girl.
to you.
But she said that when the dragon was flying above King's Landing and then you see a top view of the city, it literally looked like a board game. Like it didn't look like a very realistic city. And I don't know why, like what happened there, why they skimped on the budget for special effects. Because honestly, we know that they're doing it in a studio in Goregaon. So you might as well just like, it's cheap labor, man. Come on. So yeah, that was like really ridiculous. It looked like green screen, and even in this one scene where Jon is standing against like a sky background, you can see very clearly that it's green screen. So I don't know why they did stuff like this.
I think money.
Yeah, but
And they lost some lights on the way because some episodes were just like dark. Like, what's happening? Where is the
Yeah.
light? Switch on the light.
A lot of the light is taken away.
Do you know that the meme? It's a painting of a horse, and then
oh yeah. Oh, seasons 1 through 8,
Yeah.
right?
It's like beautiful. The horse is beautiful.
Yeah,
And then
till
it's
season
like-
5 it's like really beautiful, and then after that it's just like
A stick figure.
scribbling of
Yeah.
this. So this was the same painting.
yeah, for
Yeah.
sure, man. It was so accurate.
I mean, they could have they just had to redo a few parts and maybe extend it by 2 episodes so it can like play out. They could have put in their whole Bran idea that he can be king. Like we were talking that they should have shown him make like decisions kings and leaders could make. Like say things that are really poignant
Yeah.
and you know, he was just quiet all the time.
Yeah.
He didn't know what was going on in his head.
Yeah.
They should have done that. Sowed those little seeds. It doesn't have to be super obvious because they're very good at doing that. They did it with Arya. They did it with Cersei. They did it with so many characters, you know. There's a build-up. You can always throw back to what that character was in the last season and say, hey, oh yeah, you can make those connections. So it's done that with Bran. But I don't know why didn't they do it? I didn't understand it. When they were watching the show after it was done, did they feel satisfied? This is the question. If Dan and Dave are listening to this, this is my question. Hit out at me. I'm Cats in the Box on Instagram. You can totally. It's just mind-boggling that they didn't do that. All they had to do is make it 10 episodes.
Yeah.
And they could have then fit it all in. And it would have still worked.
Yeah.
It would have still been okay.
They never established Bran as a leader of the people or anything.
Yeah.
He was just like a human encyclopedia, and I don't know why a human encyclopedia should be king. Because it makes no sense to me.
Sam would have been a better king.
Yeah.
Sam knows how to send ravens and things like that, at least,
because I think a huge part of being a king is to be like humane, right?
Yeah.
To have empathy for your people. And
But Meher has written this article for Bustle. I don't know if you guys read it. She wrote about the season finale, and shout out to Meher, also a friend of ours we work with.
Also worked with us at this company that we used to work at.
So she wrote about Bran becoming the king, that it's actually fitting that he's become the king because he can look back in the past and learn from the past rulers' mistakes. He can look into the future and see what's to come and like prevent it from happening or something. So like basically his vision of like looking in the past and the future will help him be wiser and make better decisions.
That's great. Like, I like that, and I fully get that. But they didn't, like, you can't just you can't eat a half boiled egg. Like, in a sense, like you're just throwing him in.
They went with the cheaper route, which is like a shock value route. Instead of a character development, they went to shock us and like just throw him in there. But also, what you're saying is kind of a paradox, because Bran's whole theory about being a three-eyed raven is that he can't interfere with the past, present and future.
Right.
So even if he does know everything, he can't do anything about it, right? Isn't that his whole motto?
I guess. But we still don't know how much of the future he can see and how much of it just comes to him as flashes. So it's so ambiguous.
Yeah.
I like that. That's why I said I wasn't so unhappy with Bran being king. Like that's not the issue. How it happened was just shit.
Yeah.
Right.
You know?
Have you guys checked out that documentary that's out where they're showing like behind the scenes and like...
Yeah, I think I'm going to watch it.
There's this clip on Instagram right now I saw just a few hours ago where they're doing the season 8 final episode reading, the final season reading, and John is reacting to
the final scene.
Him killing Daenerys. It was
Yeah.
pretty cool. I think.
He looks like he's gonna cry and shit.
Yeah.
That's really cool though, because the characters, I mean, the actors look like they are actual friends. Like they don't. It's not. It doesn't seem fake at all.
Yeah, and they're actually invested in their characters.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
It's a good team. Very good team.
So, guys, what are your final thoughts on Game of Thrones?
I mean,
the books, the TV show, everything. The franchise.
I am not giving up on the franchise just yet, because the books are the real deal. We all know that. We all know that George R. R. Martin is that kind of asshole who will keep details to himself and like always want to have the last word.
Yeah.
You know, he seems like the type to do that. So yeah, I'm waiting for his last word. I hope it's better than the show.
Yeah.
He has said something, right? That the ending he's writing is...
He's saying 2020 it'll come out, but like, I mean, he's been saying that it's going to come out.
Yeah, we're not going to take his word for it just yet.
Yeah, he's just, it's like being in a psychologically abusive relationship. When you read
in a toxic relationship.
Please don't read it if you've not read it. Like, read it when the next book comes out. Because you'll read all of it and then you'll be like, I need it, and you won't get it. And that was like, I was just so mad that for the last, how many years has it been? I mean, I only read the books in like the last 5 years.
Been more than 6,
But
7
still,
years
it's just been torturous waiting for it. And then he goes out and he puts out blog entries, and then he'll release random chapters from Winds of Winter, and you don't even know which is it in what sequence, nothing. And with the thing with Game of Thrones is every chapter is a POV chapter. So it just says Jaime and it's Jaime's chapter. And then you'll have another that says Cersei and a Cersei chapter. So he's released them. He's released the character names, obviously. but you don't know where it lies in the sequence of the book.
Oh, okay.
He's a tease.
He's a tease, and it's like
It's working.
Yeah.
and you don't know whether and then he took them all off. But somebody on Reddit has like downloaded
Of
them,
course
so you can go
they've
and
done that.
this thing, and those are even worse because they're just all over the place. There's it's brilliantly lovely written chapters, but like no connection, maybe a little bit connection to each other.
So if you read it in any order, you can kind of figure out, like, draw some connections.
some
between.
connection, but then it's also like happening in different parts of the world. Like one character is in Dawn, one is like on the high seas at Euron, one is Tyrion who is again going to look for Daenerys.
And none of them give away the plot, so you don't actually know
so
what's
they're
going on.
I think these are his filler chapters. The 15 filler chapters. He's like, chalo, let me keep them satiated with this, which just made us want it more. But he's a tease. He's a horrible person. I mean, I love him, but
man.
he's brilliant. But so it's just.
He's like the world's worst drug dealer.
Wow, that's really aptly put. What about you, Abhineet? What are your final thoughts?
It could have been better. That's all.
The way they've concluded
I
the whole
hope
show.
they're coming up with some like.
Better
I need my
made.
closure.
Okay.
Yeah, that's all.
One good thing is this will get people to read the books.
Yeah.
I feel that like now I want a better ending, like at least a better made ending. So I would probably.
Yeah, man.
It's a lot of time investment, but.
Man, George R. R. Martin is smart. This is what he wanted.
This is what he wanted. We have a theory that he purposely waited out the seasons to see, let me see what Dan and Dave do, my prodigies
and he
or whatever.
purposely didn't give him a detailed outline so that they would have to scramble in the end.
Like he just said, he probably just gave them like, okay, so have this happen and have this happen
like
and do it how you want.
Yeah.
And they just like, they got some things right and they got some things wrong, obviously. And now he, in a press interview, says, oh yeah, it was really bad, right? They were really bad. You could have helped them a little bit. But yeah.
Cool, guys. That's a wrap on this episode. Thank you so much for coming here, guys, Dhriti and Gauri. It was
Thanks for
lovely.
having us.
And hopefully we see you all again on another episode of whatever you guys are geeking out about. And thanks, Abhineet. And that's a wrap. We'll see you next week on another episode. If you want to reach out to us, you can reach out to Abhineet on...
I'm on Instagram at Abhineet Mandal. That's Abhineet and Mandal without space. That's all. Instagram, guys.
Gauri.
I'm Cat Lady Gauri everywhere. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram.
And Dhriti, where can one find you?
I'm on Instagram, cats in a box, cats_in a box. Or cats in a box _ I don't know.
Cats _
You'll find
in a
out,
box.
yeah.
I remember.
But and on Twitter, I'm Dhriti. Just Dhriti Menon. Yeah.
Okay, cool. And you can reach out to me on Instagram and Twitter at Jaanam Devan. And you can also write into IVM Podcasts. We're at IVM Podcasts on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. And we'll see you next week on another episode. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Sachin Tendulkar, Virat Kohli, Don Bradman, and now Cyrus Brocha. Okay, probably not in the right company. I mean, Don Bradman is Australian. But it's called Cyrus Says, a wonderful show about everything. Find the show on the IVM Podcast app, ivmpodcast.com, or wherever you listen to podcasts.
माणसं गोलगप्प्यासारखी असतात. हाय हॅलो करताना वेगळी आणि बोलताना वेगळी आणि गप्पा मारताना वेगळी, मित्र झाली की वेगळी आणि शत्रू म्हणून वेगळी, थोडक्यात दिसणारी वेगळी आणि असणारी वेगळी, कधी आंबट, कधी गोड, कधी तिखट, तर कधी चमचमीत आणि कधी कधी हॉट अँड स्पायसी सुद्धा. आणि म्हणूनच गप्पा सॉरी गोल गप्पा विथ तृप्ती खामकर फक्त तुमच्यासाठी दर बुधवारी IVM पॉडकास्टच्या ऍपवर, वेबसाईटवर किंवा युट्यूब चॅनलवर सुद्धा ऐकू शकता. तुम्ही आमचा पॉडकास्ट वेगवेगळ्या पॉडकास्ट प्लॅटफॉर्मवरती ऐकू शकता. फक्त सर्च करा गोल गप्पा विथ तृप्ती खामकर आणि आमचा पॉडकास्ट ऐकत रहा.